Season 7 of South Park is easily one of the best seasons in the entire show. It's actually kinda crazy how many good episodes came out of this season. We got Casa Bonita, All About Mormons, Crazy Cripples.
We're going to pop some punk-ass for blood. Dumbass!
Still not convinced? Okay. There's also Raisins in the super underrated toilet paper episode. It also happens to have, I don't know, just my favorite episode of all time, Christian Rock Hard.
We are going to start a Christian rock band.
This episode is South Park at its core. It showcases the best of Eric Cartman and his rivalry with Kyle. It pokes fun at religion and Eric's willingness to exploit it. It even goes into depth about the issue of pirating. No, not that pirating. More specifically, illegally downloading music, which was really topical in 2003. Any LimeWire enjoyers watching this? The episode also has some of the funniest use of stereotypes I've ever seen. They're not just lazily offensive. It's done in such a smart way. To top it all off, Cartman has a beautiful singing voice. If I had to recommend a single episode to someone who's never seen the show before, it would be this one. Now, I don't think it's as iconic or as pivotal as, say, Scott Tenorman Must Die, but the rewatchability and enjoyment I get out of this episode has put it firmly in my #1 spot. It might not be your favorite, but by the end of this video, maybe you'll understand why I believe this is a perfect South Park episode. Before we get started, I just want to say, hey, I'm Armchair Analysis, and this is my South Park avatar. I'm not that other guy, or should I say team? You know, the one Bloom's completely body bagged. Bloom's obviously doesn't need a shout out from me, but I am seriously grateful for those 2 videos he made. Maybe now people will stop comparing me to that content farm. Whether they did it purposely or not, it's been incredibly annoying for me having people think our channels are linked in some way, so I'll be changing my avatar to separate myself. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Whatever, I had it first. I hope that clears things up, but enough tomfoolery. It's time to focus on the beauty of South Park. Here is our episode analysis of Christian Rock Hard.
Wanna get down on my knees and start pleasing Jesus.
The episode kicks off with Cartman and the boys practicing for their cute little band named Moop. Randy then walks in confused and asks,
Dan, are you okay?
Yeah, Dad, we're just rehearsing our band.
Oh, I thought a group of Vietnamese people were having their intestines pulled out through their mouths.
Can we just take a second to appreciate the creativity with that one? You know, I can relate with being trash at music. I was just like the boys here. You see, I had 3 main goals when I was younger. Become shortstop for a Major League Baseball team, marry Emma Watson, and become the lead singer for a pop-punk band. It might be a little too late for baseball and music, but I'm still holding hope for Emma. Okay, we're getting off topic. Pretty much every kid at some point wanted to be in a band, or at least thought it was the coolest job ever. I mean, Trey Parker and Matt Stone both wanted to be musicians, specifically in a band as well.
I went to CU where I met Trey, and my career, I was in the math department. But basically, I was pretty sure I was just going to be a rock drummer. Like, that was my career. That was my well thought out career path was rock and roll.
The boys decide that the reason they're so terrible is because they all have different musical backgrounds. Surely, that's the issue here. Kyle then says that they need to listen to a bunch of new music to get inspiration. The word inspiration gives Cartman a pretty interesting idea.
Should play Christian rock.
Yeah, as you can tell by their faces, they don't like this idea very much. Cartman says that if they play songs about loving Jesus, all of the Christians will end up buying their crap.
It worked for Creed.
Apparently, Matt and Trey actually really like Creed, or they're being sarcastic, I can't really tell.
I think mostly inspired by, I don't know, we're big fans of Creed. And this was when Creed was really big.
Kyle kicks Cartman out of the band after his suggestion, and they decide to make a wager. Eric is going to start his own band, and whoever gets a platinum album first will be paid $10 by the loser.
Ready? First one to have a platinum album wins. Go!
He rushes to recruit his new band. He decides that Butters will be his drummer, and Token will play bass.
What? We don't have a bass guitar.
Your family's black, Token. There's bound to be a bass guitar in your basement somewhere.
Eric Cartman, you racist, bigoted, intolerant.
Hey, there was a bass guitar in my basement.
Fair enough. Cartman tells his new recruits that they are gonna make a Christian rock band. Butters is sad about this, and Token immediately starts walking out of the house. He's able to persuade him into staying by talking about how rich and famous they're gonna be. So Cartman's approach to making music is taking regular old love songs and changing words like baby and darling into Jesus. Yeah, that definitely won't get weird or anything. So they have their songs ready, Butters starts them off with a great little beat, everything is looking good. There's just one issue.
I don't know how to play bass.
Token, how many times do we have to go through this? You're black, you can play bass.
I'm getting sick of your stereotypes.
Be as sick as you want, just give me a goddamn bass line.
God damn it.
This is straight up one of the best jokes in the entire show. I really love Token as a character. Oh, God, I just realized I've been calling him Token instead of Tolkien. Am I racist?
Anyone else just assume his name was Token?
Okay, but in all seriousness, I just love how Matt and Trey created a character that was pretty much invented to make fun of tokenism, yet they use his character in a way that's really smart and not just lazy stereotyping. The band's first jamming session actually sounds pretty nice. Hell of a lot better than anything I could have done at that age.
And I just want to feel you deep inside me, Jesus.
We then see what Kyle's plans are for getting a platinum album. He asks his parents for money so that he can go buy a bunch of CDs down at the mall. Does anyone else get nostalgic when they think about CD players? I had one of these bad boys growing up. MP3 players and eventually iPods pretty much made these things irrelevant. Anyways, Kyle's dad refuses to give him any money.
Come on, Dad, don't be such a Jew.
Stan and Kenny show up and tell Kyle that it's all fine because they have a way to get free music off of the internet. The boys go onto Kyle's computer and start downloading music off of a website. They don't specifically say the name of this website, but if you look close enough, you can see the letters STER. This is interesting. It's almost certain here that they're referencing Napster. This was the pioneer tool for illegally downloading music. Created in 1999 by then 18-year-old Sean Fanning, Napster was a file-sharing service that allowed users to share and download music files over the internet. As you can imagine, this tool sent the music industry into widespread panic. Sure, there were ways to get pirated music before the internet, but a tool like this where any person with a potato PC and internet access could download whatever they wanted was extremely threatening to the music industry. The fact that some random 18-year-old coder was able to set the music industry on fire because he believed people should have access to free music is honestly pretty funny. In 2001, Napster was shut down due to copyright infringement. While piracy had always been illegal under copyright laws, this specific event caused it to be taken a lot more seriously on the internet. And all the millionaire musicians cheered and thanked the heavens for their money had been saved, and piracy was defeated. The boys are having a great time downloading free music after getting some Judas Priest. Nice taste, by the way.
What the hell is that? I don't know, let me check.
Freeze, FBI!
Another satirically brilliant joke. The boys are then questioned by the FBI. We also get our first appearance of Harrison Yates. Something a lot of people don't actually know is that he was created just for this episode as a member of the FBI. After a while, Matt and Trey realized that they were getting tired of Barbrady's 90s styled comedy. They felt that Officer Barbrady really didn't fit with how the town operated anymore. So Yates would eventually be changed from FBI to Park County Police. So while Yates is interrogating the boys, he asks them if they have anything to say for themselves. Kyle replies by saying he didn't think that downloading music was that big of a deal. This response makes him pretty mad, and he's now gonna show us all how downloading free music online can ruin people's lives. He starts off by showing them the home of Lars Ulrich, drummer for Metallica. They find him crying in his yard.
This month he was hoping to have a gold-plated Shark Tank bar installed right next to the pool, but thanks to people downloading his music for free, he must now wait a few months before he can afford it.
What if I told you there's a reason Matt and Trey used him specifically? Well, I already gave you the history lesson on Napster, but what I didn't tell you was that Metallica was the band who went out of their way to personally file a lawsuit against them. So this became a huge thing, and Lars Ulrich would make an anti-Napster video about why piracy is wrong. They compared downloading music to robbing the guy's room, and it was just corny and weird. This is coming from someone who likes Metallica, by the way. So yeah, this was Matt and Trey giving him a hard time about that situation. Yates goes on to show us that Britney Spears had to downgrade her private jet due to the online piracy, and that Master P won't be able to afford his son's birthday present, an island in French Polynesia. Yates says that if people don't stop downloading their music for free,
Recording artists will be forever doomed to a life of only semi-luxury.
it's funny, but it's true. It's hard to feel bad for millionaires, and Matt and Trey are obviously satirizing that. Everyone watching this video will have different morals on piracy, but here's my take that nobody asked for. Support stuff that you enjoy. I'm not gonna pirate a Steam game by a small indie developer, but I'm also not gonna pay $100 to watch a Jake Paul fight. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Which reminds me, if you've made it to this point in the video, that means you're at least somewhat entertained. You can support me by clicking the subscribe button and liking the video. Okay, that was shameless, but at least I'm not asking you for money. Cartman, Butters, and Token are on their way to take pictures for their new album cover. Token is over it by this point, and he tells Eric the album better make as much money as he promised.
I'm going to kill you one day, Token.
What did you say?
We all know this is a joke. Cartman would never do anything to actually harm him. I've already said this in 2 of my other videos, but here's more proof. Cartman loves photography.
This show also has that weird thing that Cartman strangely is really into photography. I was like that's one of the funniest, weirdest little weird Cartman idiosyncrasies is he's actually really good at and really into photography and has really nice photography equipment.
They get their pictures and they're on to making their first album. We also learn the band name, Faith +1. Another funny thing about this episode is that the entire idea of Cartman starting this band was actually an idea they had years before this episode. Matt and Trey, in real life, debated making a Christian album.
That's where some of the ideas
we were gonna
songs
go to
came.
all these Jesus fests and stuff where these guys set up booths and stuff.
And just
like
sort of
that.
make up a fake band, and it's a great idea if someone else there wants to do it. And we were even going to call it the Faith +1.
Back at the station, Yates tells the boys and their parents that they're gonna have to pay a $400 fee for the piracy.
$400 just for downloading some songs off the internet? It's not that big a deal. Not a big deal, huh?
It's really not surprising they decided to keep him as a character. He's made for some really good episodes.
You're busted, buddy. I'm a cat.
He takes the parents away to educate them on piracy, and meanwhile, Kyle has a realization. There isn't any point in continuing the band if they're just gonna get screwed over by people downloading their music illegally. You know, even though they still don't know how to play their instruments, or even decided what kind of music they want to play, or attempted to make literally anything. For some reason, there's a news report on their refusal to play. Cartman then shows up and starts bragging to the boys about how his album has almost gone platinum.
We've already sold 13 copies. You want to pay me that $10 bet now, Kyle?
Kyle reminds him that he needs to sell 1 million copies to go platinum, and Eric responds by saying this weekend is Christ Fest, which is the single largest gathering of Christians in the Midwest. There doesn't seem to be a definitive Christ Fest, it's more so just a bunch of Christian musical festivals scattered around the US. I was imagining like a Warped Tour for Christians or something, but no. Stan angrily tells Eric that he doesn't even know anything about Christianity.
I know enough to exploit it.
This is the most Cartman response ever. We then learn what Christ Fest is all about. People making money in the name of God. The boys start their marketing journey trying to get exposure for their band.
We're not really Christian. We're just pretending we are. Butters, remind me later to cut your balls off.
Cartman realizes this isn't going to be enough for the band to blow up, so he decides that they need to find a way to get onto the big stage. The boys run into another band named Sanctified.
We play metal and punk, but with lyrics that inspire faith in Christ.
I'm not gonna lie, there's some good Christian music out there. Well, at least there used to be. Bands like Reliant K, Switchfoot, 1000 Foot Crutch, Red, and Skillet. I listened to all of these bands at some point, and funnily enough, I had absolutely zero idea any of them were Christian rock except for Skillet. So anyways, Cartman takes advantage of this band and asks them to pray with him.
Hey, Eric, I don't think they can get out.
This ends up working, and Faith +1 are given their shot at fame. And the song is actually good.
And it's up to you to save me, Jesus, baby.
This This opportunity did not go to waste. Faith Records wants to sign their band. I was curious if this was a real label, and the only thing I could find was an Instagram account with like 150 followers. Faith Records, record label, formerly Fascist Fascist Records? What the f? The label has one concern. They have noticed that the lyrics are a bit suspect. It appears to him that Faith Plus One doesn't just love Jesus, but is in love with Jesus. Cartman gets defensive, and his deflection actually works. The label says that they want to make sure Christian bands aren't just in it for the money.
I have never in my life done anything just for the money. If I'm lying, may the Lord strike me down right now.
This is a funny joke, but when you really think about it, Cartman actually doesn't care about the money in this situation, or a lot of them actually. What drives Cartman the most is his desire to beat Kyle. Sure, he's done a lot of immoral things for money, but what is far more important to him is making sure that Kyle suffers. That is his main source of dopamine. Kyle gives Cartman a reason to live when you really think about it. With funding and professional marketing, Cartman's band is quickly exploding in popularity. They even get their own commercials for their new album.
I wanna get down on my knees and start pleasing Jesus. I wanna feel his salvation all over my face.
This is one of those times I wish I could play all of these songs, but whenever I play too much of a song, copyright aggressively nukes my video, so instead, I'll just tell you some cool facts about these songs. A lot of these songs were actually a lot longer, and some of them even completely finished. In the episode, it's just a quick demo for the commercial, but Trey actually did make a few full-length songs. I don't know about you guys, but if they put all of these songs together in a real album, I definitely would have bought it. Trey also had this to say about the episode.
Looking back on it, you can see some of the undertones of Book of Mormon and stuff, even in that show, where, you know, some of the same kind of innuendos and stuff like that.
I absolutely love this musical, and I've already told you I'm obsessed with this episode, so to hear Trey say this makes me pretty happy. It's time for an update on Moop. It's now the second day of their refusal to play music. The news reporter mentions that they did a poll, asking people if Moop's refusal to play would stop them from downloading music off of the internet.
1% said yes, 2% said no, and 97% said, who the hell is Moop?
Metallica randomly shows up because, of course they do. They praise the boys and join them in their protest. This starts a chain reaction, and musicians from all around the world are inspired to join in, from Blink-182 to the Lords of the Underworld. Stan is starting to get tired of the protest, and Kyle, along with Metallica, convince him to hold on, saying that they're gonna win this thing soon. Suddenly, the mailman shows up to deliver a letter. The letter is from Cartman, and the boys' worst nightmare has come true. Faith Plus One has sold 1 million copies.
P.S. No. Ha 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 ha.
Kyle then has an epiphany, accepting that they lost because they were so caught up in protecting their music that they forgot to just play.
But why play if we're not going to make millions of dollars?
Yeah, they really didn't like that Napster video. Lars keeps getting bullied throughout this episode. Kyle starts giving one of his gay little speeches that makes a lot of sense. He says that real musicians play music because that's what they love to do. People are always gonna find ways to pirate stuff, and if they're real musicians, they should just be stoked that so many people want to listen to them play.
We're just about the money.
Yeah.
Oh.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone have a pretty interesting and maybe even a little surprising take on this whole piracy thing.
Obviously, artists need to get paid for what they do, and we get paid really well for what we do, but
It's just hard to feel sorry for that.
You know, like, South Park was one of the first shows to get downloaded on the internet and be like all over the place and everyone getting it for free over the internet, and it didn't hurt us at all.
I mean, yeah, exposure is another way to make money. A good modern day example of this is live streamers or podcasters. A lot of people these days take clips from these content creators, upload them to TikTok, Instagram Reels, etc., and sometimes these clips gain millions of views. Now, the creator doesn't directly get paid for these, but those millions of views gave them exposure that they would have never gotten otherwise. In the case of music, it's pretty similar. You download a song illegally that you wouldn't have had otherwise and play it at a party. Suddenly, 10 people are there asking you what song that is. Alright, back to the episode. Kyle decides that he's gonna swallow his pride and just pay Cartman for losing the bet.
And hopefully, he won't make a big deal out of it.
Oh, Kyle, you know Cartman better than that. Of course he's gonna make a big deal. He has even decided to throw a massive celebration ceremony that cost him every penny that the band has made so far.
We're Faith plus 1 token. There'll be plenty more money. Relax and enjoy, black asshole.
Kyle tries to give Eric his money, but we all know Cartman isn't letting him off the hook that easily. Just some more proof that destroying Kyle is more important than money. The ceremony starts and he is to be given his platinum album.
The Christian recording industry is pleased to present you with this Myrrh album.
Myrrh album.
We learn that in Christian rock, there is no platinum albums, which, by the way, was just invented for this episode. There's no such thing as a Myrrh album. Okay, you guys probably figured that out. I don't know why I'm explaining that. But what you might not have known is that this is a biblical joke. The 3 wise men, 3 kings, or whatever you want to call them, I'm not religious, brought 3 gifts to the birth of Jesus.
In Christian rock, our albums go gold in frankincense and myrrh.
If you're not religious, it's pretty easy to miss this reference. Anyways, this revelation means that technically Eric has not won the bet. Despite selling 1 million copies, the bet was specifically for a platinum album. Naturally, Cartman starts crashing out, using God's name in vain in front of an entire crowd of Christians.
But you spread the word of the Lord. You brought faith in Jesus.
Oh, Jesus!
I think part of why I love this ending so much is the fact that Cartman could have just took his loss and still been a wildly successful band, made millions of dollars, been on top of the world. But no, none of that matters if he can't beat Kyle, so his impulsivity and rage just takes over. This perfectly encapsulates who he is as a person. Butters and Token attempt to calm him down, but it's no use.
Ah, f you, Token, you black asshole!
Not only did he screw himself over, he screwed over his band. And this is a therapeutic ending that couldn't possibly get any better, right?
You, Eric.
You tell him, Butters. As much as I love Cartman and acknowledge he's the character that made South Park what it is, I always love watching him get what he deserves. In my mind, this is a perfect South Park episode. It's ranked 13th according to IMDb, with 43% of voters giving it a 10 out of 10. If there's anything I've learned since creating this channel, it's that fan opinions are insanely different compared to other shows. So feel free to tell me your thoughts on this episode or why I'm wrong. If you guys enjoyed this video, 2 of my other videos are popping up on screen right now. Maybe you're interested in my analysis of the Tourette's episode or the Mormon episode. Thank you guys for watching.